Alright, little short intro there. You guys know this song. What a great song by 38 Special. Rockin' Into the Night. This was the hit. Took them over the edge. We are in normal tuning. My link for the tab, I wrote it out, is right below. We're going to go over the lead also. I've been shying away from leads lately, but I really like Jeff's soloing style in this melodic type leads. So I have that. We'll go over that also. Alright, so this song starts out on a G power chord. We're going to hold it and then slide down, and then we're going to come up to an A sharp and hit that 3 times and then hit a C. Hold that 4 count, I think it is, and then we play a little walk up. Kind of repeat that intro. The walk up is the 3rd fret of the 5th string to the open 6th string, 1st, 2nd fret, and then into the G chord. Alright, so the G chord again is held about 3 counts, and then they slide off and come back in with our A flat. I'm sorry, what did I say? A sharp. It's A sharp. B flat. Walk up will repeat. Now the next 2 times we do this in the intro, there's a second guitar that comes in. So that second measure of the intro, what we're going to do is hold the G and not slide down, come up, and then do the same thing with a walk up. That'll be the 3rd time we do it. Again, like I said, this 3rd time doesn't have the slide down. The 4th time changes at the end. Rather than a walk up, we're going to do some chords. All right, so I'm going to do this second measure, and this is where that second guitar comes in, but we'll go over that in a second. All right, so 1, 2, 3, 4. So you see the chords that we're doing there. We're going to our A sharp to an F, and then to a C, back to our A sharp. Alright, and that takes us into the verse. Alright, so the second guitar, what they're doing, it's triplets. Alright, and there is a pattern to it, and once you understand the pattern, it's a little bit easier to do. So the pattern is triplets, like I said. We're going to be on the 4th string. We'll hit that 3 times. I'm sorry. Yeah, 4th string, 5th fret, I should say. We'll hit it 3 times, and then 1 time pulled off to 3, and then land on the 5th fret of the 5th string. All right, it's all palm muted. All right, and then we come back 3 to 5. All right, so that is... Think of that as 1 lick. There's 4 of them. So we're going to do that. It's almost harder to do slow. The second time we do it, what we're going to do is when we pull off 3 to 5, we're going to come to the 3rd fret of the 3rd string and give it a slight bend before we come back to 5 on that 4th string. Alright, that is the big difference in the second set of lick. The 3rd and 4th are just like the 1st. So we have the 1st, the 2nd that's different on the 3rd string, and then the 2 that are just like the 1st. Alright, so that leads to, and he'll do it twice. So the second half of it, all right, we're going to do another set of 3 to 5, 1 with the 3rd string. 1 more 3 to 5, just like the first one. And then we're going to go with the chords. We'll just represent them by notes. 3rd fret of the 3rd string to the 3rd fret of the 4th string, and then the 3rd string 5 to 3. Alright, we're just following that. the other thing I think to remember is there's two guitars. So, you know, we talked about the intro and the two guitars. During the verse, if you have another guitar, you can do different things, like one plays open chords and one will play, you know, bar chords. Either way. I'm going to teach this kind of a hybrid for both. Other than like that first part, you got to pick one or the other. But sometimes you can do both. So, with that said, for the verse, we come in with a G chord, and it's 4 counts. Then we go up to D, 5th root, and then E, and then back to C. All right? Now, again, this is where you can do like what one guitar is doing and the other just stays on the power chords like I taught there. It sounds real open here at this point. So play an open G chord, 4 count, then go to this D. Now this D is because the suspended sounds better here. We're going to add a suspended to this chord rather than up here. It gets too blended in unless you're just playing those few strings. Alright, so we got a G, then we come to our D, just let it ring, and then you're going to come in with your pinky on the 2nd string at the 8th fret, and then off. Then we go up to E, and then when we come back, we're not going to C, we're going to go to B. Hold that chord, and now we're into the pre-chorus. Okay, for the pre-chorus, what we're going to do is we're going to take the 1st and 2nd string, 3rd fret. Keep those covered throughout the chords we play. That is the key to this sound that you hear. So what they do is they'll hit the bottom half of the chord, the thicker part. Then you'll hear that those strings ring out with what chords you're playing. So the C is going to be a C suspended. Okay, we'll just have our finger on the 4th and 3rd string on that 5th fret and bar across, including that 1st and 2nd. So we're going to hit the bottom half of the chord, the thicker part, before we hit the upper part. Then we do that with an E minor 7th. That's what the chord will be when we do that. All right, so we just have our first finger covering the 2nd fret of the 5th string. The 6th and 4th are open, same with the 3rd's open, but we're covering on the 2nd and 3rd again. Then we do that with D. Add a suspended to do that. So we got D, the top, or I should say bottom half. Then a G. Then we just go G, F. And we do that again, but we don't do the D, we go to F. So you can see from the F, we go back to our little walk-up chords. A sharp to F, and then C back to A sharp. And that takes us into the chorus. That's intro, verse 1, pre-chorus, and now the chorus. The chorus is basically, the first one is the 2nd half of the intro. We're going to do the G, and a walk up, and then we're into verse 2. All right, so we got those parts down. Verse 2, just like verse 1. So chorus 2, what's different is the ending. Like I said, it's taking us into the solo rhythm. So we're going to start out just the same. The difference is when we go up to the C, we're going to come up to D. then to an F, then we come back to our A sharp. And that takes us into the solo rhythm. Okay, the solo rhythm is basically a verse rhythm with a little twist on the end. So we got G, 4 counts, D, E, back to C, and then our little jangly part. And then we go to B. Alright, so that little walk up ends the solo rhythm and takes us into a pre-chorus. So it's a little bit different there in the timing. Again, if you follow the notes, it'll really help. But we're basically second half, when we get to a B, we're going to stay on a B, go up to an F sharp, back to B, and then start the pre-chorus. So let me go through that solo rhythm. 1, 2, 3, 4. So you can see how that goes into that pre-chorus. This would be pre-chorus 3, is exactly like the pre-choruses we've done. All right, we'll come out of it. Then we're into the outro rhythm. Okay, the solo rhythm is basically a verse rhythm with a little twist on the end. So we got G, 4 counts, D, E, back to C, and then our little jangly part. And then we go to B. Alright, so that little walk up ends the solo rhythm and takes us into a pre-chorus. So it's a little bit different there in the timing. Again, if you follow the notes, it'll really help. But we're basically second half, when we get to a B, we're going to stay on a B, go up to an F sharp, back to B, and then start the pre-chorus. So let me go through that solo rhythm. 1, 2, 3, 4. So you can see how that goes into that pre-chorus. This would be pre-chorus 3, is exactly like the pre-choruses we've done. All right, we'll come out of it. Then we're into the outro rhythm. All right, the outro rhythm has one big difference. It's a different walk-up that they do. So we're going to start out like we've done. We're going to start out with a G power chord, hold that for 4 counts, and then fall down, if you will. And then it's a cappella, rocking into the night, okay? And then they start with the pickup. And then you're going to hit the G chord twice and slide off. All right, now what we do is one more time. And then, so we have this. Then we go to our A sharp to C. All right, so every time you do the twice hit on the G, this is where the walk-up changes. So that walk-up is quite different. The timing is off. It's more of a rushed. It's not. It's a. All right. So what we're doing is 3rd fret, 5th string up to the open and first fret of the 6th string, then we go to the first fret of the 5th string, back to the 6th string, 1st and 2nd. My timing's a little bit off there, but when you're playing with this, you'll hear that, and it takes a little bit to get your head around it. But once you play it a few times, really cool the way they did this. Follow my notes, that will help. You'll definitely see the pattern in it. And at the end, they're just doing yeah, so that rhythm will really help you, but we'll go over the lead next. I can't tell you how much I enjoyed learning this, and we'll go over that next. Okay, I'll play the lead for you, then we'll go over it. Like I said, it's very, very cool lead to play. Very melodic, not very difficult once you work it up, and you'll learn a lot from it. So we're going to go over this. You know, I looked at the tab too, and the tabs are correct and stuff. But I think, again, watching Jeff's videos and his style, and some things made sense to me and sounded better with the record. So I'll talk about that, because again, it's not they're wrong, it's just a different way of thinking about how to play this solo. So if you want to follow that minutia, you can. If you don't, download the tab and bye-bye. If you want to learn some more about what I think he was thinking during this, we'll go through that. All right, so this lead is the epitome of, like, people talk about, especially Ben Eller, if you watch his videos, playing the chords and target notes. That's exactly what melodic soloing is, and that's what's going on here. So the rhythm starts out with the G 4 counts, and then D, and then E, right? So we start out here. So that's all G, and then when we move, the rhythm moves to the D chord, we're doing this. Kind of Hendrix stuff. Right, so again, that's what makes this melodic, are those target notes, and you'll start to see how they fit together. We're starting out on the 4th string, all right? And what we're going to do is play that 5th fret of the 4th string, and we're going to pull off to 3, come back to 5, and then we go down to the 3rd fret of the 3rd string, back to 5, on the 4th string, back to 3. So we have this so far. And it's triplets, da 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 da. Okay, so that's the feel of it. The next triplet is going to be 5 on the 3rd string, bent up and released. Then we hit 3 on the 3rd, or the 3rd fret, I should say, 3rd string, and then 5 on the 4th. All right, so we have this. And then we're going to come 3, hammer it into 4, catch the 1st string at 3. All right, so we're skipping that second kind of Chuck Berry move. We're just going right to that 1st string. So I noticed Jeff likes to string skip here and there, and this is a good example of it where it just fits the rhythm, because he's going to do a nice blues move and move from, I really feel he does it the 4th fret of the 2nd string and slides up to the 8th fret. Now a typical blues move would be the 6 to 8. But listening very closely, slowing it down, I'm pretty sure he's hitting the 4th string. I hear it take a little longer to get there and the note sounds different. Play with it, see what you think, but either way. So that's my take on it, okay? We're learning. One way isn't necessarily right, but this is what sounds best by playing it on. If you don't have it, the free software, Riff Station, you can slow this down, not change the pitch. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4. So once we come to that 3rd string, 3rd fret, I'm sorry. So once we come to that 1st string, 3rd fret, we're going to come to that 2nd string, like I just said, and hit 4 and slide up to 8. And another reason I think that if you use your pinky like you would normally do, now you got to change positions. I think Jeff's a little more economical from watching him play. This gets you right in that D position. So that's the thinking here, okay? Again, no one's right, no one's wrong. I'm going to stop saying that, but so many people analyze the crap out of what you do. I'm here to help, all right? So I'm done. That's my soapbox. All right, now the rhythm has moved to the D chord, all right? So we're going to do a nice little figure right off of this D chord, all right? And what we're going to do is hit the 7th fret. Like I said, you end up with your 1st finger here. You can bar if you like. I just tend to play the notes and bar where it fits. So anyhow, I landed with my middle finger at 8. Now I take 7 on the 3rd string and then come to 8 again on the 2nd, but pull off to 7. And it's not, don't let that 3rd string ring. It's a, then you're going to come back to 7. All right, he might even hit a dead note. Almost like a palm muted. All right, so we have 7, palm muted if you want, to 8 on the 2nd string, pulled off to 7, back to 7 on the 3rd. Then we come again to 7 on the 4th string, and we're going to hammer into 9, and then land on 7 on the 3rd. And slide off. All right, very, very melodic, very cool. Fits under that D. Now the rhythm moves up to E, so we're going to do some notes within that E chord and targeting, you know, those chordal notes. So the next section of notes is over the E, and again, watching him live, all this made sense up to that point, and even this E lick, if you will, the first half of it is filmed, and then, as usual, the cameraman faded away somewhere else. But it took a lot of work, and I think I figured out what he's doing. It's the same notes Brett Papa gave, but just a little different because he's here at this position. And again, when it turned away, I could see he was here, and then you couldn't see anymore, but I'm pretty sure it's the same notes, played a little bit different. So with that said, we're going to start out on the 5th string, 5th fret, and what we do is kind of a walk up within this E chord. All right, and what we're going to do here is play 5 hammered into 7 and the 5th string, and then come to 5 on the 4th, back to 7 on the 5th, and then lay down and catch 7 on the 4th, pulled off to 5. Come back to 7, slide up to 9, and then catch 7 on the 3rd. All right, so we have this so far. What I think he's doing is he's going to go slide, because I see him sliding up to about this position, and it's this G note. He's going to hit this G note, and it's basically palm muted. Then he's going to come to the third string to this E note, and then back to that G note. But what he's doing, and then we go right to that third string at 8, and then hit 7. It's really, I would slide, but pull off sounds fine. And then we end on the 4th string at 10. Funky lick, but once you do it a bit, it does flow, especially if you're used to playing 16ths, all right? So, let me do this slowly for you, this whole second half. Actually, third half, we'll count it. 1, 2, 3, 4. E and that G, but there's a palm muted G that starts you off. So what do we have? Alright, at that point, now we finished with the E, now we're back to G, right? So what we're going to do, come off of the G with some pentatonic notes, alright? But we're moving up to the 12th position. And he does, again, some cool string skipping and notes that, like I said, I think if you look at the tab, yes, it's the same notes, but it doesn't make economical sense for what he's doing, and it doesn't quite sound the same with the recording. So I'm going to start with this first section because it's such an abrupt stop that it's a good place to show you. It'll sound like this. Alright, so what we're doing is sliding from the 4th string at 12 up to 14. We'll catch the 3rd string at 12 back to 14. Alright. Then to 12 again on the 3rd. Then we catch really quickly the 1st string at 15. And then a bend and stop on the 3rd string at 14. So we have this. And then what we do is continue on with 2 more notes that take us up to a chromatic walk-up. So once we stop at 14, we're going to come back to 12 on that 3rd string to 14. It's kind of like a walk-up to our walk-up, our chromatic walk-up. Alright, our chromatic walk-up is B, C, C sharp to D. Alright, so what do we have so far? 1, 2, 3, 4. Alright, so that is like the first half of the last lick. Now that lick is doubled. And I think it's doubled with the same notes, but it's done in a different position, and I wrote that out. Alright, so I wrote that out, but that's the second guitar. I think the main guitar, or the one you really want to follow that sounds best with the recording, is what we've done so far, all right? Now the tab had you going, which is fine, but if you're playing this B note, here's my thinking. If you're playing this B note here, and then 15, and you got to go to 17, why not, and stay at this 17, why not do another B note if there's one around it, all right? And there is. This G string, all right? We're doing it at the 16th fret. So that all made sense to me. It's like, okay, instead of, let's see. We're doing this. And that sounded okay, but not exactly like the record. The notes were correct, but again, messing with the record, I believe what he does, all right, at that point, we've done our walk-up. I think he comes up to this B note up here on the 4th string. So we're going to hit up here at the 21st fret to 19 and 21. And then another pull off from 21 to 19 on that 3rd string. So we have this. And Explorers are so easy to get up to that area, it makes sense. And then we pull off, and then we can do 22 bent up to 22 unbent to 20, 19 on the 2nd string, and land on 21. So those are options. If that's too hard for you, I wrote that out, but if you know, again, I think it's really, I think it's up there. So that is the solo. I'll do the solo one more time so you can see how the pieces fit together. I just love playing this. Boy, it's fun. I hope you guys enjoy.